Shall we move on to my favorite chapter?
Sure, let's finally move on to the favorite chapter.
Okay, so I like how you introduced the chapter, so go on.
Wait, how I introduce the chapter?
Yeah, I like that. I just like listening to that.
Oh, you mean in general? Like, okay. So, yeah, at the heart of the desert is pretty much what the title of the chapter promises. So, it's about his experience with his navigator at the time, at the heart of the desert. So, they've flown over northern Africa, Egypt, and he had his weather forecasts. And like as we already explained, during that time it was quite difficult to fly a plane on like long distances, because navigation was just totally a totally different world and way more complex and less reliable. So the point is he tries to calculate where he is, and at one point he's really confused and he wants to like find out his position so that he can then properly continue his flight, because if he's not where he should be and he doesn't adjust course, it can be quite dangerous. So he dives deeper, and at one point there's like a very sudden impact because they land on a plateau in the desert, and from there the story of this chapter basically then develops, and I guess Radek would like to talk about it.
I don't know where to begin. I think I very much like the strategy that he adopts in this chapter. Like, if just beginning with the setting, and that's the way began this episode. Being alone in a desert is quite a strange feeling, because if you look at it, all you can see is sand, wind, and stars. Or you cannot see wind, but you can feel it, So there's nothing around you. There's sand whenever you look around, sun. They don't have water, or at least they don't after the first day or two. And then he begins his search for civilization to save themselves. And he describes very vividly the process of dying out of when you lack water, when you just become so thirsty that you cannot continue. What happens to your eyes? What happens to your body?
Dehydration,
yeah, dehydration. What happens to your body, and so on and so forth. And the way I read the story might be quite interesting and quite.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
I read it as each person's life story. That we sort of walk on deserts of our lives, trying to search for meaning, whatever it is. And during the story, what is happening is that he's seeing these visions, what you just start going nuts. You just start going crazy when you're in the desert and you're thirsty, And the way I was looking into this is that as we go on through our life, we become thirstier and thirstier. We become weaker and older. And this is I'm just reading too much into it, but this is the way I understood it. And we see these like Fata Morganas, like these dream-like things happening in front of us. And we never know whether it's true or not. And if you just look at it, he never answers whether, okay, he does. It started running away from him, but it might still be there, it might just be further away. But
I mean, I think he makes it very clear what was like real and what was part of his imagination because he was dehydrated.
And I think I'm just going to jump right now. That's about the ending. I think the ending is very... Okay, so what's happening is that he has all these hallucinations, all these visions throughout 15 pages. And at the end, he suddenly gets saved. And that's it. There's no the story does not continue, and you are left out with the question whether it actually happened or not.
No,
Like
no.
we know it happened. We know it happened. But the feeling is, after reading the story, like if you just left that story without knowing the context, if the story was just on its own, how do you know that he was not hallucinating it or not?
I mean, because he experienced the same thing, like he started experiencing the same things as his navigator did. Like he knew, like in the last minutes,
Yeah, that might be the key. Yeah.
Before they met the Bedouins, that he was not hallucinating finally this time.
And I think that's the answer to. So I was reading as we go on through our lives and we try to find our own meaning of life. And the ultimate ending of the story comes when these two people and their visions intertwine, when they become identical. And that's the truth, when two people can see it. Only two people in the desert can see the truth. I think that's what I got from it. So if you were there alone, you would not know what is true and what is not.
Sure, yeah, I guess that is true, yeah.
And I think that's what he's trying to say. We need others to know what's good in life, what's true. So we come back this full circle to camaraderie. But yeah, that's the way I felt about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you can definitely take like those conclusions out of that story. It works for sure, yeah.
I know you don't like it. I just look at it. But okay.
No, it's not that I dislike it. It's wait, the thing is, I think he usually makes it quite clear what he wants to express with his stories.
Yeah, but even if he said something else, I would still read.
No, but it's valid for you to take that.
Yeah, because I think
for you out of that,
the meaning of a book lies both within the author and the reader.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's perfectly valid for you to find that truth, like your personal truth in those words. It's a perfectly like good thing. But I'm just like reading through his words at the end of the chapter again.
Also,
yeah, like I think he ends it again with like, because he then switches from like this narrative to like this more like to this like way of like writing where he just wants to get his messages across very plainly, or like poetic lyric style.
At the same time, the Bedouin there, he does not represent one person. He represents.
Yeah, exactly. Like it is for, also for de Saint-Exupéry, about humanity, about this shared human experience. All my friends and all my enemies are walking towards me in your person, and I have no enemy left in all the world.
Yeah, and that's why I thought he was hallucinating it.
Oh no, it's like
I know he's not.
Like this, like he does this switch most of the time, like in most of the chapters, I think, that he like kind of summarizes in a way like what he wants the reader to take away from it.
Yeah, because he says to the Bedouin that comes to rescue, "You are a man." M with capital M, which basically means you're people. You are the society.
You're mankind.
You're mankind. You're humanity. Because why else would we write capital M? Yeah. And that's again the same theme. You cannot be alone. You have to be with other people. Yeah. That's what's happening. And you cannot know the truth if you're alone in the desert, and you start going nuts. You need someone else to confirm it.
That is very true. Yeah, like he never knew when he saw something if it was real or not. Like he often believed it. and at the same time he didn't. I guess it has to be quite a weird experience, because there's I think that there's an
Confirmation
interesting,
bias.
what?
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, like I think there's a very interesting relationship then between your senses and your desires, you know, and your rational mind, because like you start seeing stuff that you know is most likely not real, and like your rational mind tells you it's not real, but then at the same time your desires are able to override that rational mind often enough. And he and his friend too, or his comrade, is probably the more fitting term. They run after those like visions they have because of the dehydration.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. Only together they can actually find out what is true and what is not. Because if you see the same thing, it's almost impossible that both of you are hallucinating about the same thing. So it is an objective truth then.
Deep.